everyone, and welcome back to the JobStream AI YouTube channel. I'm here with my co-founder and business partner, Adonis McReynolds. And today's video, as always, is very exciting, and it's going to be actually Adonis taking over this one because he's going to talk about his expertise in cold calling and how cold calling can really help your business and how it's kind of a lost art that no one is doing these days, but will really push you over the edge. So the floor is yours. Let us know all about cold calling.
Yeah, cold calling is everyone's favorite, right? Everybody loves getting up early in the morning and, dialing 100 numbers and continuing to do that every single day to generate business, right? No, of course not. Nobody really likes doing that except for weird people like me. I actually kind of get a high off of doing this kind of stuff because I kind of love the uncertainty of it. You're dialing, you're waiting for somebody to answer. You're kind of like, it's almost like digital door knocking in a sense, right? So door knocking is actually kind of thrilling and fun with the with the caveat of you never know who's going to answer on the other side of the door, and physical violence could happen potentially. So it's a little more scary in my opinion than cold calling. The key thing to remember is that if you want to cold call, right, the only thing that stops you is yourself. Right. Beautiful thing about it is that it's extremely affordable to do. If you have a phone, you pick it up and you can find cell phone information and or business lines. Now, I'm going to kind of cover this from the standpoint of like, let's say you're a consultant or you're somebody who's looking to take advantage of cold calling lessons. I'm going to share a few good insights here that might be able to help you with your cold calling techniques and help you with your overall generating leads for your business. And then I'll go into like what I actually do for our clients who are not fans of cold calling and don't really care what I have to say on the matter because they ain't doing it. So I'll start off by dropping a little bit of knowledge on cold calling. The first thing to know about cold calling is that it is not a dead channel, right? There's no such thing as a dead channel. All there is maybe an underutilized channel, an overutilized channel, or maybe it's a channel that has become more or less effective depending on who you're calling, what type of industry you're in. Cold calling certainly has changed a lot. There was a time, believe it or not, where everybody cold called. There was not really an option to not cold call. In fact, when I first got into sales, the idea of not cold calling was kind of like, bye, you're not going to work here if that's not what you do. Then we don't need you, right? If you're a salesperson or you're somebody looking to generate leads, that's what you did. You cold called. And that was the majority of what you did. Sometimes you would spend 4 to 8 hours a day, making calls, sometimes 100 plus, sometimes 200 plus, right? So it's part of why a lot of people don't like it. It's a lot of work. It's tedious. It's a lot of number dialing. And there's obviously a lot of animosity that can come about through being called on the phone. Not everybody likes to be called. So like, if somebody answers the phone, they're like, hey, who's this? And you're a little bit slow in terms of delivering the information that you need to deliver, or you're not very clear, or you just seem nervous and you have that nervous energy over the phone. Sometimes people are like, nah, sorry, man, like not interested, and they hang up on you. And sometimes the effects of that are more petrifying for some than others. For me, it's like, all right, next call. But, for many people, it's like, ooh, that was super ick and I don't want to do that again, right? So the first thing that we have to master when it comes to cold calling is the mindset. And that's with anything, right? The mindset has to be, the biggest deal of my life could be closed as a result of this call that I'm about to make. Every single time that I jump on a phone, that's my mindset is, hey, there's somebody who's probably going to answer this phone. And if they do, I'm going to close them. I'm going to get them to see the value of my business, or I'll find out if they're a good fit for my business, and we'll go from there, right? So mindset is very important. You don't want to be so conscious of like what other people think about you to the extent that you don't do cold calling. Or at least have somebody do it for you. Because, the fact of the matter is that you're leaving a lot of money on the table if you're not doing it. There are definitely people who would answer their phone, right? And maybe they might be a little prickly in the beginning, right? Because whenever someone first talks to you in the very beginning, until they warm up to you and start liking you and trusting you and kind of believing in what you're doing, they're going to be a little prickly. It's just kind of the nature of the game. So be prepared for that in your mindset. You're going to talk to some people who are not expecting to hear from you. That's why it's called cold calling, right? It's just out of the blue, it's out of nowhere. So get comfortable with it. And I know that sounds, like, impossible for some, right? Like, get comfortable with just like out of the blue calling people. Never going to happen, right? Some people would rather do public speaking, and there's a lot of people who would rather die, just quite frankly, than have to do that. But the second thing that you need outside of mindset when it comes to cold calling is you need to have your strategy and you need to have your direction. There's nothing worse than having someone call you and they don't know where they're going with that call, right? So they call you and they're like, "Hey, this is Adonis. How are you?" And then they answer, "Good." And then the call just kind of gets slow. It fizzles out. We don't really get to the point of the call very quickly. So within the first 30 seconds, that person should know everything about why you're calling, right? Who you are, why you're calling, why you thought they would be a good person to call, and if they can help you with said inquiry, right? So if you get through those things very quickly, they will feel very comfortable, especially if you sound good and your tonality sounds very professional and not robotic, because that's a huge thing today. There's a lot of AI cold callers. That's not how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a cold call, get a real human to do it. A real human who's good at it, because you're going to get a lot of bookings if you have somebody who's actually good at this that can do it. So that's number two. So you need the mindset, number one. Number two, you need your approach. You need to come to the phone with an understanding of like, okay, I got to get this pitch out, got to be very, very quick, got to make sure we're clear, that we articulate, and all of this ideally done within 30 seconds of the call beginning. And if you're bad in the first 10 seconds, the person on the other side of the line is going to know, and you're not likely going to make it to the next 20 seconds. Okay. So that's another important thing to remember. Now, the third step is when you're actually on the phone, remember that you're not actually looking to close the deal right there, right? All you're looking to do is set up a meeting. That's really the point of a cold call. If you're getting on a cold call to try and close them, that's the wrong idea. You're going to try and be on the phone for hours. That other person has not scheduled the time for you to have that conversation. It's just rude if you try and close them in one call. So all you're trying to do is try to see if maybe they'd be interested, and that comes after that first initial pitch, right? In that first 30 seconds where you're delivering that content of who you are, what you do, and why you called them. And if they're not interested in having a conversation, or they're not in the market, they're not interested, right? And so that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're never going to be, but that gets you on the board to kind of start emailing them, LinkedIn messaging them if they're good with it. You can put them in your campaigns, right? And so you just continue to contact them every here and there. Maybe even put it in your calendar to call them in a month. Ask them before you hang up the phone if they're not interested. Do you think there's any chance you could be interested in a month or two from now? If they say yes, then put it in your calendar to give that person a call. And keep in mind everything that's going on in between that first and last call. Lastly, what I'll drop as a dime, because I could spend a lot of time talking about this. This is something that I love to do and something that I do quite regularly. I'm going to just drop this little dime. Don't underestimate the power of the voicemail. There's a lot of people out there who underestimate the power of it. People do check it, and don't forget that text after you call, because like most people are like, okay, I just called a company line, there's nothing left to do. I'm just going to leave a voicemail. Try to see if you can find that person's information, like their cell phone information, send them a text. Now, there are people out there who are very weary of like cell phone texting and stuff like that. Like, I get it. It's very personal. It can seem somewhat invasive, but that's why you include a qualifier, right? Like, hey, if you do not want to receive text from me again, just text stop and I will cease texting you, right? So just make sure you have that. That's the classy way of doing the text messaging thing, and keep your text brief, right? So, hey, my name is Adonis. I called with JobStream. We actually help people with finding awesome opportunities, or helping them find, develop better lead gen, whatever the case, right? And so is this something that you think you would have interest in discussing, right? And if they're not, maybe down the line they would, right? But if not now, then we move on to the next, and so on and so forth. This is a time-consuming affair, right? Like, you're doing this day in, day out, and you have a lot of dials that you're trying to make. But the beautiful thing about it is that it actually expedites the process when you do connect and land with somebody, right? So if you're a business owner or a job seeker, whatever you're trying to accomplish in the job market, you can do it with cold calling. You just have to adjust your script to exactly what you're trying to do and make sure that you actually have a direction in terms of how you want to go about that process. Now, I say all that to end with this, really. Most people aren't going to give anything that I'm saying a second thought because they've already determined in their mind they are not doing this, right? For whatever reason, it's either they don't have time, it's too scary, maybe they don't really believe any of this can work, etc., etc. Well, let me tell you that most job opportunities that I've helped people get was through the phone, okay? And the biggest part about the phone is that you develop a relationship. Phones are about relationships. You don't have a relationship with somebody you don't talk to, right? And so in reality, you have two ways of talking to somebody in today's business world. Three ways technically. I mean, you could either go to their office and see them. It's like the most rare of ways to go about that process today. You can have a Zoom or some other social media meeting with them, kind of like this, right, where they see your face, or you're talking with them on the phone. And there's nothing better for those preliminary stage deals and those opportunities that you have than talking with people on the phone. Now, what I would like to offer you through JobStream AI is the opportunity to just get cold calling as an option for your business, your job search, whatever it is that you're trying to do for you, whether it's getting a new job or whether it's like getting a new client. Cold calling is going to be a channel you're going to want to lean into. And if it's not you personally, then it would be me or someone else on our team, right? Somebody who's capable of going out there and finding those types of people that you're looking for and being busy, getting to it, scheduling things on the calendar, getting people to agree to spend their precious and valuable time with you so you can close them, okay? Now, this is a time-consuming thing, as I've said before, so the pricing for this, if you want to order this as a standalone, if you want me to give your clients or call 25 people on your list every single day, culminating into 100 calls each, I'm sorry, not 100, 125 calls each week. And then if you do the math, you 4 times that, that's going to be 500 calls a month. That's a lot of calls, right? And I'm connecting with people on their cell phones. We have no fear. So if you want this service, you want to have me make 500 calls on your behalf to companies that are a good fit for what you're trying to do, you can sign up with JobStream AI. We will offer this to you at $1,500. That's a steal of a deal. Now, if you wanted me to make 50 calls a day for you, that's very time consuming, right? However, it's only double that, right? So in terms of the pricing, you're going to be, or in terms of what you're actually going to get, you're going to make 1,000 calls. There's going to be 1,000 calls a month done, right? And that's $3,000. That's also a steal. Most of the time, when you pay a cold calling company or you pay anybody any type of money for outreach, cold calling is not normally included, and if it is, it's going to be a much higher rate because of how scary and valuable it is. So keep that in mind as you're considering your approach to either finding new work or building your business. Cold calling is one of the greatest and most valuable assets you're going to have, and you got to have somebody good doing it. It's either going to be yourself or it's going to be someone like me. Take your pick, right? So that's all I really had to say on the matter. I think that's kind of a good place to end it in terms of cold calling and its value and where it fits within the JobStream paradigm. We do offer it as an addition to our VIP package as well. So if you are looking for more than just cold calling and you want a more expansive overall approach to your search, then check out our VIP video on our YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. See you in the next video and check us out at jobstreamai.com.